continuing our road trip today, and something you don't often see in central Indiana is an airplane flying on skis. And I'm with Mike Finney, and Mike, we just witnessed some incredible flying. Tell us a little bit about your airplane and what got you interested in the ski part of it.
Well, it's just I like flying the Piper Cubs. I've got a lot of time and interest with the Piper Cubs, and from a lot of the books that I have and everything, they were doing ski flying was part of it, and float flying. I've also got to fly a 90-horse J-3 on floats up at Oshkosh. But the snow ski flying always intrigued me. And down in Ohio, they've got a place there where you could rent a Cub. And the time was never right for me down there. But I had opportunity. A gentleman bought a Cub, and he had floats and skis. He didn't want either. So he sold the floats to one guy. We ended up going over and buying the snow skis. And I just put them on a Cub out here and went out and taught myself how to fly with them.
This airplane, Mike, you scratch built. It's a clipped wing Cub. And with that C90, what a performer. I was amazed out there the way it was getting off on the skis.
Yeah, and that stems mostly from the fact that I used to fly a 50-horse Piper Cub. And you get out here with it really hot, full of fuel, and try to take somebody with you. You'd have to pull it up over the wires, and it sometimes took me 3 or 4 miles before I could get 200 or 300 feet in the air, and I'd made up my mind when I got this airplane done I wasn't going to be doing that anymore. I want to be able to fill it full of fuel and put me and whoever I want in there and be able to get up over the wires and not worry about it.
It is a smooth running engine. I was really impressed.
Yeah, I'm real happy about that. A friend of mine builds race car engines, and since it's experimental, we took it over there and we did a little extra balancing and some more items to the engine inside, as well as the propeller. I've got a friend that's got a propeller balance shop, and he had never balanced a wood prop before. And we had to keep all the weight inside the small skull cap spinner there, and it really helped it out a lot. It's really smooth running from inside and out.
Maybe developing slightly more than 90 horsepower.
Well, we always hope for the best, You try to get as much as you can, that's for sure.
It came in here in a box, and you put it all together.
Everything came in either UPS or most of it UPS or something like that, shipped in, and then I would get the drawings out and build each part and so on until the airplane was built.
Beautiful paint scheme on your airplane, and really you've got the J-3 Cub stripes, but the Acro Cub decal, I've not seen something like that before.
Yeah, there again, I was going from the Acro Sport that I built, and we my wife and I tossed that idea around and come up with the Acro Cub. And the decals that you could get on the tail, they usually said Piper Cub and Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, and all that kind of thing. So I walked in, she was on the computer one night, and I was showing her that, and I said, it'd be really neat if this thing, it's not a Piper Cub, if it could say Acro Cub and then put Finney Aircraft Corporation on there and Albany, Indiana, because we're sure not in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania. And about 20, 30 minutes later, she come walking back into the living room and handed me a piece of paper with it on there. And she goes, is this what you want? And that's pretty much what we use to take to the printers to print those out to make my tail decals.
Any modifications besides the clipped wing part from a standard J3?
It has toe brakes that I developed. Now, before this airplane, I built an Acro Sport 2, also from just drawings. And from the clipped wing Cub being the aerobatic airplane, I like the toe brakes, and also not so much even liking them. I like heel brakes okay too, which most old airplanes have. The brake parts are so expensive for a Cub. You'd have like $800 or $900 in just the brake pedals in the rear for the heel brakes. So for that kind of money, I was able to get master cylinders and the disc brakes and a conversion kit and everything for that kind of money.
So you have hydraulic brakes.
Right. So now, and it was hydraulic on the Cub before, but they were drum brakes. The Scott master cylinders are so cost prohibitive now, you can't afford to buy them.
What are the numbers flying with the C90?
Well, I usually cruise right at 85 mile an hour, and your stall speed goes up a little bit. They say it's right around 45 or so, and so it's 7 or 8 mile an hour faster on the stall speed than it is in a stock Cub.
What do you burn at, about 5 gallons?
It actually burns about 4.5, just a little over 4.5, so it's doing real well on the fuel burn too.
Well, that's what's interesting. I have a 65 horse. I'm burning 4.5, so you really get that extra horsepower for free.
I do, and I wasn't expecting that. That's just one of those added perks that came with the thing that I wasn't expecting. So, and I don't have the big gas tank. I've got the stock J3 tank, and I was afraid that it might make it to where I couldn't fly very far. But it's worked out. I can go about the same distance with this as I could a stock Cub, and yeah, maybe even a little further because I'm going faster.
So really 2.5 hours, comfortable?
I do too, usually. I'm comfortable with that. Whenever my wire gets dipping down on the cap, that's close enough for me.
You grew up around airplanes.
Right, yeah. My dad rode his 47 Harley into an airport in Mattoon, Illinois, and they had J-3 Cubs flying around there, and on the GI Bill, he got his license there, and he always loved airplanes and flying, and I grew up with them, so to me, airplanes have always been around. I haven't known anything different. So when I turned 16, I soloed on my 16th birthday. My brother's a pilot.
And your wife is a pilot also.
Yeah, well, we met in high school with a...
Talking about me?
Well, looky here. Well, introduce us to your wife.
This is Sherry.
Hello.
Like I was saying, in high school, she had a notebook where she had this all mapped out. Whenever we got married, we were going to live out in the country and have our own airstrip and have our own hangar. And I thought, well, that sounds pretty ambitious, but if we could make that come true, that'd be a great deal.
It's worked out pretty well, Sherry, and you learned to fly in tail draggers and the J3.
I did. In Waynesville, Ohio. I drove there every Saturday and stayed there for a couple hours, did 2 lessons, an hour lesson long each time, and then drove back home and I probably soloed the 4th time I went over there. So I had 7 or 8 hours.
Well, you had a little bit of flying experience before you started.
I did. I did, thanks to this guy right here.
We had a Piper Pacer back then, so after she got soloed and got to flying a little bit, sometimes we'd fly down there in the Pacer too. But with my work schedule, it was fairly hectic, so she had to rely on herself. And if she was going to learn to fly, she had to make it happen.
Sherry, during the restoration, I understand you're pretty good with fabric work.
I am. I did the rib stitching. In the Acro Sport, they were 1 inch apart. And here they're 3 inches apart. So there was a lot, and the Acro Sport had 2 wings, the upper and lower, and there was a lot of rib stitching in that.
Well, I've been looking at these wings, and everything's nice and straight.
Yes, thank you. The girls, they did help somewhat, but there wasn't too much that they could do. We wanted to make sure the airplane was flyable, so we left most of the hard work to us.
It's wonderful that you can do this as a family and do this together.
Oh yes, it is. We really, really enjoy it.
What's your favorite part of flying these old airplanes?
Oh, the view.
Yeah.
I mean, the view that you get, nobody realizes when they fly. I mean, if you're not up in the air, you're just seeing the ground from below, and it's totally different when you get in there.
But our kind of flying, low and slow, there's really nothing like it, is there?
Oh, yes. That's what I love. And I like flying real low so you can see everything. Well, 500 feet anyway. Got to fly there.
Tell me about the children. How many children, and do they fly?
We have 5 daughters. None of them fly at the moment, but the oldest and the youngest, they would like to fly at one point.
They're interested in me getting my instructor's rating so I can teach them to fly.
Well, we sure appreciate the invitation here today. Beautiful winter day, and getting to witness you flying on skis.
Hopefully when it gets summertime here, you can come back and enjoy this place. It's a lot more fun around here in the summertime, I assure you.
We'll be back. We're looking forward to flying with the door off.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. You'll love it.